Interview Preparation by Patricia King. Question number 1. Tell me about an event that challenged you. How did you meet the challenge? And if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? This year in my company, we had some turnover and we received a new community provider engagement director who joined our team. This role is 3 positions higher than mine, and unfortunately, the 2 senior managers below this director who I reported to, hierarchy-wise, were out on leave due to COVID-19 and unforeseeable illnesses. I was told that our department was not up to compliance and that we needed to submit a marketing manual to the Department of Healthcare Services, otherwise known as DHCS, on behalf of our company as soon as possible. Because of the absences in our team, I was voluntold by email to complete this manual and work with several other departments in our company to create this manual. I was also advised that I'd be creating not just one, but 2 manuals, one for the county that I was working in and one for another that I'd never worked or lived in. I've never seen a marketing manual, developed any content for DHCS, nor worked with the other departments that were tasked to support me in creating these manuals. So, my responsibility was to turn in 2 comprehensive draft manuals for each county to our senior director, who I had met once and never worked with within 60 days. And the senior director would then proof them and provide edits so they could be turned into DHCS in 75 days. Well, it was time for action, so my first inkling was to use the teach-back method with the senior director to ensure that I understood the project correctly. I didn't want to lose valuable time or complete the task incorrectly. I scheduled a call with her to repeat exactly what I thought I had heard, what the project entailed, what she was envisioning, and how I planned on obtaining the information that I needed to do this project. The call went very well, and she clarified some ambiguous details that were very helpful. The second action I took was to contact my interim supervisor to discuss the special project. I had several competing work deliverables due within the same time frame. I requested a pause and extension on my current job duties that were due simultaneously. My interim supervisor happily agreed, knowing the manuals were our top priority. And then the third action step was to schedule a meeting with all of the parties involved to support me so we could create this manual, develop a project charter to clearly define our roles, time frame, develop a centralized location for storing materials, and a communication chat on our company platform. We decided to complete 1 county manual at a time and give each project a 30-day window for completion. We all began working on the manuals immediately with our separate task teams. In result, I'm proud to say we completed the first manual within 30 days, we allotted ourselves, and completed the second manual early in 25 days, which was 5 days ahead of schedule. We were able to provide both drafts to our director to get them submitted to DHCS on time. If I had to do anything differently, I don't think I would do anything different in this scenario. Throughout the project, I made sure to honor my colleagues on our company recognition platforms, stay in constant communication, and we all delivered a great final asset. I learned so much throughout this process. It was a privilege to be asked to complete this very special project, and I'm really happy that I asked for my current job to be paused so I could focus entirely on the manuals. That time management piece was key. I learned a lot from this experience, and if I changed anything, I may not have been able to learn these great lessons. Question number 2. If you had a colleague that had a different opinion, how would you go about resolving it? I would love to share an example about this question. I have a former colleague of mine on my team that we were assigned a very large healthcare work group to lead and ensure that we delivered specific deliverables and that they were met within a time frame. We were expected to be co-leaders of this group. My colleague had started the work group 6 months before I joined the team, and this was a long-term work group, which the deliverables that we were responsible for were supposed to be met over the next 3 years. My colleague had a very different opinion from me on almost all of our work and was pretty dismissive to me as a partner in the work group. She commonly monopolized our time and used our company chat platform to send me really short, abrupt messages about the work group and what she wanted to do next, neglecting my opinions and thoughts when I shared them. The task at hand, my ultimate responsibility was to ensure that our group deliverables were met while honoring the opinions of both my colleague and me. The second goal was to ensure that the work group and stakeholders saw us as a harmonious team on behalf of our company's image and brand. I did not want them to see any of our differences publicly, as we had some work to do, which could be extremely harmful to our personal relationships, professional relationships, and company. So the action, I aimed to ensure that both my colleague and I shared our opinions in a safe space, felt heard, validated, and that we could come to an agreement on how we wanted to develop strategies to propel this work group. The first action step I took was asking to meet with my colleague privately so I could be transparent about what's happening and how I think her current reactions are adversely impacting me, our relationship with one another, and our work group and company. I also wanted to level set so we could create some solutions to sharing our opinions constructively and make sure that we both felt heard, that we were confident in sharing our opinions constructively, and that we could really move our work group in the direction that it needed to be heading. I leaned heavily on some former trainings that I had utilized called Crucial Conversations and tried to be as direct and kind as possible with her. In result, we amicably decided to create a work charter with our roles, deliverables, and timelines. We developed a standing weekly meeting to discuss our opinions and meeting content. We split up the two main projects for the group, so she was leading one and I was leading the other, and agreed to rotate conducting our monthly meetings. This really helped us because the meetings that we had weekly allowed us to share our opinions and really air out any conflicting ideas and opinions. We used our why from our individual viewpoints. Our why conversations gave our thoughts context, and we were easily able to come up with agreed upon decisions for executing and managing the work group successfully. These meetings slowly helped us build trust and a positive working relationship. In result, we both shared our opinions and respected one another, and we were able to meet all of the work group deliverables within the 3 years. Management style, and why is your management style the best fit for this position? My management style is a visionary servant leader that seeks transformation. I consider myself an inspirational community leader that delivers transformational change through an inclusive approach while emphasizing collaboration, innovation, relationship building, personalized motivators, and effective communication amongst employees. An example, as a task as a leader, some of the ways I implement this style is by regularly creating safe spaces for one-on-one meetings and group meetings. This space is used to convene, listen, communicate, celebrate, and engage with staff, really seeking input from everyone. As an action, it's important to build positive relationships by trusting staff, listening, and valuing them. So I encourage teams to develop team norms and participate in team building activities. Every meeting, I like to ensure there is allocated space on the staff agenda for staff each to add items and share ideas, opportunities, and setbacks. These have aided in the improvement of myself and our department by actively listening and empowering staff to take risks and encourage active participation. Staff not only feel heard, but supported and deliver better care and optimized performance. One of my favorite and innate skills as a leader is to recognize staff, whether it be with company recognition, peer-to-peer recognition, gifts, or company points. Each staff needs to be appreciated in a way that resonates with them and makes them feel acknowledged. This differs from staff to staff. So some actions that I specifically highlight and appreciate staff for include their individuality, doing what's right, taking risks, going above and beyond, and celebrating milestones such as birthdays, anniversaries, family events, and major achievements. In result, the servant leadership style is really the best fit for this position because it creates a nurturing environment where staff feel like they're understood, respected, and mostly important, valued. This not only creates a positive culture for the department, but favorably impacts the culture of the company and resulting in a great place to work. A strong culture of competent employees with high morale and engagement result in reduced turnover, higher patient satisfaction, better quality scores, increased savings for the department, and so much more. I definitely have the ideal leadership for this position. Are you a leader or a follower? Please explain. I have 14 years of experience leading staff and volunteer teams of high volume in the nonprofit industry. I'm definitely a natural leader, but enjoy following in situations as deemed appropriate. One example of when I was recently asked to lead a team but decided to take more of the role of a follower was during the implementation of a customer relationship technology application, a CRM, that our team was onboarding. My supervisor asked me and 2 other colleagues to oversee this project from concept to implementation, and I had understood already that 2 of my colleagues have exceptional technical skills and limited project management and pretty poor negotiation skills when working with vendors. So the task, in conjunction with the 2 colleagues, our responsibility was to ensure that the CRM options were trialed because there was many to consider. A business case was developed by our team for the optimal CRM. One was selected, it was built appropriately, and that it's trained to all licensed users. The action, first step I took to begin as a leader was to ensure that my colleagues and I met to develop a project charter. I was happy to take the project sponsor role while my colleagues took the role of project manager and team member. I agreed to work under and follow the project manager. We created reoccurring meetings, a scope of work, deliverables, and a timeline together. When the project manager had difficulty making decisions, meeting with vendors, and communicating with senior leadership, I was there to be able to support her. By starting as a leader in this project and transitioning to a follower, I empowered my colleagues who had weaknesses in leading and project management, which helped them take on new challenges. As a follower, I've listened to and encouraged them to communicate effectively and help them make data-driven decisions. This has improved our work dynamic professionally. It has helped my colleagues develop and is giving me more time to work on other projects and competing working items during this time. It's been a win-win for all of us. I'm also really proud to say that we've successfully completed and selected the CRM this year. We're now creating a task force team that will be the leading experts in their departments to train the CRM. This entire project is on track, and I'm so happy that I decided to take and support the role of a follower. What have your previous jobs taught you? My previous jobs have taught me that change is continuous and the importance of being a lifelong learner. One particular example I'd like to share is when I started working in healthcare 2 years ago. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I was observing how my healthcare company had to pivot and meet the needs of the environmental factors that were impacting our company, not only, but us, our staff, and the health of our patients. Our company went completely remote with over 7,000 people statewide. We had to identify quickly how to meet the needs of staff, patients, meet productivity goals, maintain safety and compliance, and still meet budget, all while dealing with our own health and personal complications from COVID-19 and throughout the pandemic. This has been no small feat for any organization, let alone the one I was in. It was then that I decided I can support myself and my company by embracing and involving change. I can learn more about change management and improve my healthcare knowledge. So the action I decided to take was to obtain a master's degree in healthcare administration so I could better understand the foundational knowledge of operating healthcare organizations. I decided to go back to school while working full-time to support myself professionally. I decided to gain more confidence in the healthcare environment and provide myself the opportunity to learn more about ways to support continuous change in healthcare, as we all know is inevitable. I enrolled in the MHA program and began in November of 2022. And the result? After 1 year and 8 months of online remote learning, I am 1 day away from completing my master's degree in healthcare administration, hopefully with a GPA of a 4.0. The outcomes that I have accomplished on this journey are insurmountable. I've enhanced my time management skills, increased discipline, boundary setting, developed exceptional organizational skills, learned the importance of effective written communication, empathy, teamwork, and asking for help when needed. I've developed more self-confidence and ultimately learned about the history, current state, risks, and possible future state of the healthcare environment. As the healthcare environment continues to evolve, I now look at change as inevitable. Instead of resisting it, I view it as a way to be more relevant, deliver higher value, and remain competitive in the healthcare landscape. I forever want to be a lifelong learner so I can best adapt to change through innovation and remain relevant. This will not only help me succeed personally, but help me succeed professionally. Thank you.